Now, a couple of days ago, I came on here and I was complaining about Nintendo. I had released a video about the best sort of exploration and traversal mechanics in games, and of course, rightfully so, I mentioned Breath of the Wild, and they content ID'd about 30 seconds of that video and monetized it, even though I had not monetized it. Then I came on a couple of days later and complained about Nintendo. And someone, a guy by the name of Heart Foundation 99, I believe, Heart Foundation 99 said, it's no problem. You should really dispute this. It's really not going to affect your channel. They can't kick you off of YouTube. So I figured, that's good advice. Nice, supportive viewer. And then magically today I get informed that a number of my videos have been deemed advertiser unfriendly, whereas before this whole incident with Nintendo, they were advertiser friendly. It's kind of magical how that happened. Now, I'm not complaining about Heart Foundation 99. I think he was right. I needed to oppose this on principle, but it's just interesting that all of a sudden I am advertiser unfriendly. So the bad week continues here on YouTube, and as I alluded to in that first video, it's really making me really reconsider even being on here. I mean, on the one hand, it is a hobby, and to a certain degree, I still enjoy it. I can plug in the microphone and vent. But on the other hand, it's difficult enough to find a following, and really the stuff I put out is not going to find a following. It's sort of more for me. But then to see the bullshit that comes out of it in a couple instances where, all of a sudden I have these copyright issues with Nintendo, all of a sudden I'm advertiser unfriendly. And by the way, this is another aspect that kind of pissed me off. I said, one of the videos that was flagged as being unsuitable for advertisers and their brand and their mission was a video I made about companies, video game developers starting to think about the aging gamer and how you might kind of reconceive of game design to respect the time and the time constraints that people in their late 30s, 40s, 50s encounter, and sort of make gaming more accessible to that crowd. There was no profanity. In fact, there was no real video. It was just one of my commentaries, as this video is. And it was, it was flagged. And when I said, review this, there is nothing wrong with this video, I get a pop-up that said, they have so many of these to review that they will review it once it hits 1,000 views. Well, if you follow my channel, very few of my videos reach 1,000. Very few, reach 150. So I've talked about this time and again. This is essentially the repression of free speech and the limitation of opportunity for small YouTube channels. Now, let's face it, not much of what I do is going to gather an audience, but when you put all of these artificial roadblocks in front of the small channels, how will they ever get big? And it's total hypocrisy. YouTube, remember the old phrase that they used to have, broadcast yourself? It was all about freedom and communicating your ideas in an open marketplace. And that is not what YouTube is, and that is certainly not what the internet is. And that's why we have all of these, derivative types of channels, the unabashed sales pitches of supposedly authentic YouTube personalities, or, the millions of these cosplaying girls coming out of the woodwork and playing Just Dance on Twitch. It's stymieing creativity. Now, what I do is, not that creative, certainly not since I decided that me on camera with my baseball cap and sunglasses was actually quite a liability for the channel, so a lot of it is just kind of a podcast format. But I feel bad for people who are really trying and have to fight these unfortunate uphill battles that go against the very ethos of the economy and the society that we supposedly live in, the kind of open and free society where you can, everyone has a shot to compete in, again, the marketplace of ideas. And the reason why I think it is hypocrisy, and I never really agree with those people, well, that's just the way it is, that's just the way YouTube works. Well, I happened to click on the trending category of YouTube, just something I rarely do, and I happened to click on a few videos, and I found some things that might be construed as advertiser unfriendly. There was a girl talking about problems at school and how to secretly pass tampons and the embarrassment of getting caught when the teacher finds you. Now, I will admit I could not stand to watch more of this video. At one point, she was groping herself, but clicked off of that because it was just too painful. Another video with about 1.7 million views was what was the name? I've seen this person trending before, Supergirl, Superwoman, something like that. And she was talking about the size of her hips, and then placed a camera in her crotch so we can see her jeans bunching up into a, quote, jean penis when she sits down. Now, those did have ads running on them, so how is that advertiser friendly? And my little screed about video game companies concerned, being concerned about the time of older gamers, unfriendly. It just doesn't seem. Oh, I know, it's hypocrisy, of course, and they have millions of views. If I'm lucky, I get 100 views, and that's not going to change with me. But again, it's just the nature of the hobby. YouTube, for me, went from something that actually enhanced the hobby of retro games, and it's now just becoming something where I'm questioning, why am I even here? Why am I even doing this? Again, all on principle. I mean, yeah, most of my videos aren't monetized. I make very little money. I mean, if I make $1 on a video, that's a successful video for me, nor do I really have any hopes of making any money, but I think it should be an option that's open to people. And I was actually on the Atari Age forums, and they had a kind of a thread about our YouTubers ruining gaming, and I had sort of commented on there, similar to the video I made on that topic. And I said, well, I monetize only because why not? If you can do it, and you can make a couple cents, it's just on the basis of logic. It's silly not to. But I don't let that influence the content that I make. And then one guy said, well, if you're monetizing, I mean, you're automatically biased. And in his opinion, if he sees an ad running, he just clicks off of the video. And I don't find it that way. I mean, I think we should all have a shot to compete. And those of us who are doing it as a hobby, are not going to make it, most likely. But everyone should have an equal shot. And YouTube, and just the dynamics of the business model of a lot of social media, doesn't give you that equal shot. And someone said, that I shouldn't take this personally. It is what it is. And look, I've never liked that phrase. It is what it is, because you're accepting the status quo. You're accepting injustice. I mean, I do take these broad trends personally. I think more people should take them personally. We have a lot of extreme negativity in this society, and I'm not, I don't want to equate what's going on with my unsuccessful YouTube channel with, other broad and serious social trends. But I think for, if we want to have a diverse and interesting community on YouTube, we shouldn't have these artificial restrictions on speech, especially when it doesn't really violate any advertiser's brands or philosophy. I mean, right now, what sort of content I make. It's critical content. I go out, I criticize a company, and then magically, other critical videos are now advertiser unfriendly. So, just a rant. I don't know if you guys have experienced it. If you have your own YouTube channels, and it'd be interesting to know what your take is on the modern YouTube, because I think policies like these are just making it a less interesting place to be.